Oh my Lord, I stretch my arms to you. Will you hold my hands? Will you hold my hands? Oh my Lord, walk me through this land. I can't take it anymore, Swami. Please hold me. I need your help. I need to. And Swami, suddenly I was closing my eyes and saying, Swami came and I held my hand.
Saram, Brother Mahendran.
Salam, Sister Doreen.
Welcome to our Baba and I series. This morning we are very happy that you can make time to share with us your experiences.
It is also a great pleasure, sharing some of my thoughts, some of my experience with you as well as the rest of the people to all the listeners.
Brother, I would like to know, how did you first get to know Sai Baba?
Well, way back 1975, I was doing my Form 5. That time someone spoke to me, but I didn't bother so much because basically I'm a temple goer. I'm very much into Hindu philosophies. And Sai Baba coming into the picture was not accepted within me as well as my family members. So a friend of mine, and when I was doing Form 5, spoke to me. Then subsequently, this gentleman gave me a book called Man of Miracles. I saw Swami's photo, but it didn't bother me. I just left it in the drawer. Then one of my relations, went to India to study medicine. That was about 4 or 5 years later. Then she came back and told me about Swami, Sai Baba. And again, I was not interested to listen. Then she gave me a book. This time it is also Man of Miracles.
Second time.
Yeah. So I got now 2 books of Man of Miracles in my drawer. Then I went to college, I started working, and then as I was working in a factory, my boss, a Chinese gentleman by the name of Mr. Kui, he came to me and spoke about Swami. And I said, I've heard about him, and then, I just was trying to brush him off. Then again, next day, he spoke to me about Swami. And he gave me a book. This is also a Man of Miracles. Third time I'm reading. So I kept it in the drawer. And that was bothering me. How come, 3 people are giving and it's not, 1 or 2 year difference, almost 3 or 4 years difference, they are giving me this book. So I took the book and kept it and then he came a week later. Have you read the book? I said, boss, no time. He said, hey, you read this page, very interesting. So I read that page. Then, I told him, yes, I read, Then he told me another page. I went back and read to please him. Again, he came back to me and asked, did you read this page? So my God, so as I was reading the 3rd time, to make him happy, as I was reading, there was tears in my eyes, and this is what I'm looking for, and it really, helped me very much, reading that book, to see the Swami within me.
I see. Right. That's how Swami reached out to you.
Right. So after that, I started reading a lot of books, Swami's books. And then, and I said that I'm not going to go to India because as I was reading, it says that Swami is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. So why you must go to India, waste money, you can use that money. So I used to do a lot of seva works. I used to be very, very active in Bangsa Center. I went to Tuesday Bhajan and came back home. This was 1989. I was feeling very uneasy. could not sleep. So I went to the altar. Usually we put vibhuti before we sleep, and to the vibhuti. And I looked at Swami's photo. Then I felt Swami's calling me.
Oh.
So I also felt that Swami putting out his hand to come, I'm waiting for you. So I took, next day I went to visa office, Indian High Com, and I applied for a visa. Usually the visa will take 2 or 3 days, you know.
Yes.
But I went, I got the visa within an hour or 1.5 hours.
Oh,
you know. Yeah, I got it. You know. They just said, you know, okay, you take it, you wait for 2 hours, the boss will be here, you sign and go. So I got the visa, and just 2 days before this, Swami coming into my altar, I also received some allowance, you know, for the work that I did earlier. So now I have the money. I had the money. I have
the
visa, and now I have to go.
Yeah.
And I told my wife I'm going. But I must also tell you here, before my wife conceived, she already had 2 miscarriages earlier. She could not conceive. You know. So when I went to see Swami, Swami said in the interview, Swami said, Swami, I didn't ask anything. I didn't want anything from Swami because I know what Swami is teaching and we cannot be petty asking things, you know.
Yes.
So I left it there. But I had one interesting question to ask Swami. He said, what? My wife wants a baby, a child. Swami took the slate. There was one slate there. He took the slate and wrote there, Om, you put the next name, he said that. And the very day I called my wife and said, Swami gave me an interview, and he said he will ask me to put the name as Om, and second name you put yourself. And sure enough, she conceived, that very month, and we had a baby boy, and I named him Om Dwarhan. So my son is named after Om, and he wrote the name. Here, there's one more interesting part. My son, when he was born, I think 3 months or 4 months, if I'm not mistaken. The pediatrician said he's not healthy to travel, to India, especially India, third world countries. And
I see you wanted to take him to India.
Yes, because I felt that Swami gave the child and I must get Swami to bless him.
Yes.
So I took my son to India to get him blessed, Swami. And sure enough, Swami blessed him. He cut his hair a little bit and then sprinkled water. And then Swami, thank you very much. And Swami said, I will give you a daughter. He said. So about 3 years later, I got a baby girl, daughter. I also named her Om Yashwini. So it's like, and when I took her to see Swami, he said, I'll give you another boy. Swami, thank you very much. I want to do your work. That's all. No, I just want to commit 100% to your work.
Usually the first trip is very impressionable.
Yes.
Could you share with us a little bit about your first trip?
See, when I came on the way back from Chennai to Puttaparthi, I lost the valuables in the bus. So when I arrived at Puttaparthi, Swami wasn't there. Swami just left about half an hour ago to Bangalore, Whitefield. So what I did was, I had some things to do. People gave money to pass it on to that office, Sanada Sarthi. I did all this, and then by the time about 2:30 also, I took a taxi to Bangalore. So when I arrived at the Bangalore, it was about 8:30, if I'm not mistaken. And the gate was night. It was closed. Gate was closed.
Oh,
after 8, they won't allow anybody to come in, those days. So I stood outside and I was crying to myself because I don't have money and all the time.
You lost your bag?
So I didn't have money to pay for the room also. I had a little bit of money, which I kept in my pocket. So night I stood outside, I didn't know what to do. I was crying. So after that, and this is the first trip. Then about 10:30, a guy, a Sevadal, walks from Swami's home to the security guard and told him something. I'm outside. Then the security guard was very rude to me earlier. Then he opened the gate for me and then allowed me to come in. So I was a bit surprised. He was so rude. And he said, I have to get permission to allow you to come, all those things. Suddenly, he allows me to come inside the room.
Complete change of attitude.
Yeah. And he was very pleasant. He asked me, you want a drink, you want some biscuit or whatever. So I was okay. So he was very nice to me. So I asked about towards the end, midnight, I asked him. So he could speak a little bit of Tamil. I said, why were you so rude? And then now you are so nice to me, What
happened?
Then he said, the Sevadal who came, that boy asked me to allow you to come in. And he got the instruction from Swami,
Wow.
And Swami's house and the guard room is very far.
Yes.
For Swami to notice that, and telling the Sevadal, go and ask that boy waiting outside to come in, And I was very happy that Swami knows everything. And Swami is all-knowing.
Yes.
So next day morning, I checked into the room. They gave me a room. In my room, there are 4 foreigners. One guy is a German, and the other guy was Mexican. So in that room, they were actually talking to me, and all of us are not good in English. I'm also not good in English. So we were actually talking, some or other we managed to catch a little bit, and he said, this boy was telling, Swami can materialize locket, pendant, he can materialize all the non-living things, but he can't materialize living things. So, and I don't want to catch an argument with these guys, I just kept quiet, listening to them, because for me, the more important things is my money and my valuable things, passport and tickets and all. So after that, next day, we all, 4 of us stood right in front, and all of us were seated in one row, not the first row, but then Swami came in, and he was coming in. I was very happy. Wow, Swami is going to give me my passport. Swami is going to give my ticket and all. Then Swami passed and moved away from me. And my heart shattered. I don't know what to do. I expected a lot of things from Swami, So I suddenly, out of no blue, I cried and I sang this song. And Jaga's song, the Jaga's song. Oh my Lord, I sing your name out loud. Listen to my call. I sing your name out loud. Listen, Swami. Oh my Lord, I sing your name out song. Listen to my call. I'm singing softly. I'm singing loud. I'm singing soft. Sathya Sai Baba, Sathya Sai Baba, Sathya Sai Baba, my Lord. Oh my Lord, I am your child, my Lord. I ask you for your grace. Oh my Lord, I am your child, my Lord. See my pleading face. I'm crying, Swami. I'm really actually crying.
Yes.
Swami just walked away. And he was going to the other lady's side. Oh my Lord, I stretch my arms to you. Will you hold my hands? Will you hold my hands? Oh my Lord, walk me through this land. I can't take it anymore, Swami. Please hold me. I need your help. I need to. And Swami, suddenly I was closing my eyes and saying, Swami came and I held my hand. And then said, Swami, will see you tomorrow. So next morning, Swami called me for an interview with a group of us.
Yeah.
Then Swami was telling, a few of them, it's a beautiful experience, And Swami, after listening that, I know Swami is the Kali Yuga avatar. And I was given a chance next to Swami, so I had an opportunity to massage his leg, and I was tearing, tears were flowing his leg, Then Swami also tapped me and said like that, So in the end, and then Swami said, he materialized a chiku, fruit. And he said to this boy who sat in the room, many people think that I cannot materialize living thing. This is living thing.
Wow.
So chiku, and we all shared the chiku, And of course, he also mentioned other people. One man and a lady came. They were actually, this guy married few times, So he asked Swami asked, why are you here? I want to see God. You mean you can't see God in your country? You coming here? I mean, some question.
Yeah.
Then he said, I'm going to marry her. I want your blessing, So Swami said, Mary varies. That means he has multiple marriages. So Swami also pointed out that to him. So with all this in that interview room, it was clear for me that Swami is all-knowing, omniscient, omnipotent. Yes. He is everything for me.
After your first trip to India, did you go back again, brother?
Going to India is something that pleases me very much. I go very often. I go like 4 times a year to Parthi, because this is where I get motivated, I get
energized.
One of the celebrations that I actively take part is Buddha Purnima, Vesak Day. Vesak Day, yes. I was given an opportunity at one of the years that to decorate Swami's home. So I was very, actually, very, very pleased, So I had to go up on the rooftop, do lights, put the lights and all those things. Though many people said, you should not do this, But for me, I felt that, I really, like to do that, And one day, as I was putting lights around Swami's roof, there's a window, right on top, So that was directly, you can see from there Swami's room. So I just flipped and saw what is Swami doing. And Swami waved his hands at me, like that.
I'm watching you.
Right. That is one. That means he's watching what's happening, everything. Then I was given a room in Whitefield to stay in the ashram there, opposite there, dormitory. And then I always take my binoculars, glass and see, from distance what Swami doing and all, So I was from the room, I was actually looking at Swami's house. And he was just walking inside. Then suddenly he came there and waved his hands like that. It's very far.
He knows you're watching him.
Exactly. So all this actually, knows Swami knows what we are doing. So one interview where Swami told me about my mother. Mm-hmm. He said, you must take care of your mother. And I said, yes, Swami. In fact, not once, I said 3 times, yes, Swami, yes, Swami, yes, Swami, So after that, we left and then gone. And then I came back, another time. Then I asked Swami, interview Swami, He looked at it and looked at me and stared at me and said, what about your mother?
Oh.
So I'm trying to say, Swami is very much, into taking care of parents.
Yes.
You promised me that, you'll take care of your mother, but I didn't at all, I just left to my other siblings to take care and I never bothered. So when after this, then after some time back, I brought my mother to my house and looked after her until her last breath. So, and after that, the international organization, Sathya Sai International Organization, based in US, appointed me as Hope Coordinator for the whole world. Honor our parents every day. So myself, along with Brother Billy, are the coordinators for Hope.
Hope program.
Yes.
After your first trip to India, when you came back to Malaysia, did you do anything for the Sai movement?
Well, when I had this interview with Swami, he told me that you go back to Malaysia and use help to start centers. You spread Namasmarana. So when I came back, the first thing was I went to the nearest temple and told them that, I would like to start a bhajan here on Fridays. They said, no, very difficult, we don't allow, Sai Baba songs and all those things. So I told them, well, our songs are universal. We just sing, all the Hindu God forms, so not so much into Sai Baba. So finally, able to convince the chairman of the Zen temple, he allowed us to sing bhajans. And we established the bhajan group in the temple. So slowly we went, and then I felt that we also need to sing Swami's song because he is the one who's the inner motivator.
Yes.
We can't leave him all the time out from this singing bhajans. Though Swami says every form is his, but somehow or other I had my own aspiration, why should be shy to be Sai,
Yeah.
So I felt that, then we started moving to have a center. And I had few friends, at that time, who actually, motivated, we'll start a bhajan unit here. And we started the bhajan unit, in the center. It went on. After a while, I passed it on to Brother Reddy, and then I moved to another center, to Sri Muda. Then I came, at that time was Brother Sati and Sister Nalini. They were actually, helped to start here. And then we initiated that in Sri Muda. And initially it was in their house. We had the bhajan throughout in their house. Then after that we purchased this building our own and we moved here. Then as earlier I mentioned, Swami said, help to spread the Namasmarana, singing God's glory, God's name. Then we moved to Nilai, and then we started one there, helped to start one. And then finally, the deserving area, I felt that is Desamantari, So Brother Rajan, chairman of Desamantari Center, the current chairman. So we discussed and we started Bhajan Center in Desamantari. And as I mentioned, I'm very much involved in service work, even in those days in Subang Jaya, Sri Muda and Desamantari. I'm currently very active in Desamantari. I'm a member of Desamantari Center. There are a lot of single mothers and very poor people there. We are helping a lot of areas. We have got sewing classes. 30 single mothers are learning. And then we also have tuition classes, all the poor children. We are training computers for the school poor children. We give food, twice a week. 300 each time, 300 packs. Mondays and Sundays, for the people around there. And also we give dry ration every month without fail. During COVID-19, we were actually serving more than 300 people every day for about 54 days, non-stop. The volunteers come, they cook, and then we give. At one time, the government said you can't go out.
Yes.
We use panda boys to deliver food and all those things. It was tremendous. But mind you, when you do Swami's work, the money just comes in like that.
Yeah.
We never asked, money just came, and then we started doing as we do and do, Swami gave more and more.
Wow.
So that's how, So all these activities are still going on, and we wanted to get more activities done so that we can elevate as a group there, make the society better there.
Yes, I hear there's a lot of improvement in that Desamantari environment since.
Yes, because half the single mothers there, they're very poor, very poor. They're dependent on us, how we can help them. And there are a lot of opportunity for seva there. And I think, Swami is using us as an instrument to do his work.
Yes.
So we should be very, very happy and lucky, to serve them.
I understand you also have helped in international seva.
Oh yes, each time there's a disaster, Each time there's a problem, we actually will, the organization will go, and I've been part of the organization for many, many projects. We have gone to Myanmar. Myanmar. We established a village, and the village is called Sathya Sai village.
Oh.
I think probably first time in the world we've got a Sathya Sai village. We've got a water project done there. We've got a school. We have got houses done. So all these we did it under the name of Swami. So it was a beautiful experience on that one. Then we went to Indonesia during the tsunami. We did a lot of work there.
Oh, after the tsunami
Tsunami
incident.
as well as Jakarta earthquake, we fully participated some of the activities there. Then we went to Pakistan, and did a lot of work. Korea. So many countries, we have been going around doing service, for the poor and the needy.
In all these years of doing seva, what do you think is your own personal transformation?
I've been in the organization since 1979. Slowly I've been watching, I can see that I progress, and I don't talk much compared to those days. I talk less and I think and talk, So it's like that. But what is the transformation myself is because I personally have changed. My job, very much, I'm satisfied because I follow Swami's teaching. So the Swami's teaching is helping me quite a bit in my job as well as mingling with friends. Those days I used to work, but I was thinking that Mahendran is doing the job, Mahendran is doing the job. I never thought Swami is doing the job. But the moment I surrender, Swami, I will do your job, you take care of my job.
You were trained in electrical engineering, but then you ended up in pharmaceutical line. How
Yes.
did that happen, brother?
So anyway, in one of the interviews, Swami mentioned that, spread my word, Namasmarana, I will guide you. In that interview, Swami said, I will give you a new job. So when I came back, first thing I went to the temple to see, because for me Swami's work is more important. Went to the temple, I spoke to the chairman and all those. Then that evening, I went to see this job. A friend of mine said that come and join me in this job. So I went to see him in the office. And in that interview, I got the job. So I came back home. And I told my siblings that, my family members, that I got the job. And earlier when I was in the electrical line in the factory, I was drawing about 2,000 plus. So now they asked me, for you to change job, you must get a lot of increment, better. So I didn't know what to say. But I only said that I am blessed with Swami's job. So anyway, I told, I'm getting 685.
Oh!
So they got shocked. They thought I'm mad. How come you're getting a salary of 2,000 plus and then you're opting to 600 plus? So what happened? I said, Swami gave me the job. I just took it because I surrendered everything to him. So I reported to work. When I went to work, and on that day, one of the sales manager didn't come to work.
The first day?
First day. There was some misunderstanding among the staff, So then there was a regional manager coming from overseas to visit this office. And they need to put someone in that room. So they told me, my immediate boss, first day I'm reporting, said, why don't you just go and sit there for a while? Once I bring the regional manager, introduce to you, and you say, hello, don't talk too much. And then you leave, don't wait here, I'll tell that you've gone to the field. So when the regional manager, I didn't know what to do, I want the job, Swami said, I kept quiet, and the regional manager came, he shook hands, he spoke to me, and whatever that he asked, based on Swami's teaching, I answered. And he was very impressed. And then he went to the country manager's office and spoke about me to them. Oh, this guy has got a lot of potential, he's got a lot of opportunity for the organization, all those things. I don't know what I spoke, and then he went and relayed this to my manager as well as the country manager. Now my manager and the country manager has got no choice, got to put me in that room because he already relayed a lot of things. So I came back, and then he came. The same day I was given another appointment letter. And this time the appointment letter says I'm placed as a sales manager with $3,000 salary.
Wow, immediate promotion on the first day.
First day itself. So you see, within a day, where I was getting an offer letter for $685 and to join, and I'm getting, so how Swami intervened, and then, he said, you go back, I will give you my job. And how does the job work? He put me into a place where I can travel quite a bit. So I was going, if you ask me Sabah, I know all the towns. If you ask me Sarawak, I know all the towns. I've traveled.
Swami prepared you.
So I went, we started a bhajan group, in Tawau, I joined the group. I joined the KK group, I went to the temple, Sandakan temple, so Tawau temple, all these, started, working on it, and then went to also Sarawak, and then in the whole Malaysia, I tell you, Sadorin, in this country, in Malaysia, Peninsular Malaysia, I've traveled every centers in the country, every center, every state.
Swami arranged it for you.
Yeah, he arranged and he gave. You see, all this traveling at no cost.
Yes.
I plan my work and I will go there.
And you could do both spiritual as well as
yes,
your work.
And then let's say I go to Penang, my Penang rep will pick me and put me in the room. Then side devotees will come and pick me and take them to the center.
Bhajan.
So all these were connected, and
Yes.
I could do Swami's
Amazing.
work very much.
Among Swami's teachings, which one appealed to you most?
Swami's, every teaching is very practical for us. For example, love all, serve all. It's very simple.
Yes.
You just have to put your heart and you can actually do it. Help ever, hurt never. Swami's word, you can practice it at workplace, at Sai Center, at meetings. And like, for example, Swami says, you need not oblige, but you can always speak obligingly. You need not agree, but don't be disagreeable. So such words are so much practical in our life. However, I want to bring this Swami's 9th code of conduct, which comes very much, into our day-to-day life, and it encompasses the entire life, service, spiritual, education. It touches all. Okay, for example, Swami says 4 hours of service. I must tell you that by doing service, actually it helps a lot. Many people don't realize that. When I go to service, I put white shirt and white pants and go and do service. I just go and serve and come back. I don't expect any recognition or I don't demand anything. I just do my service and come back. So it's like that. When you do Swami's work, the ego level will come down, and you are there just to serve. And you are just an instrument of Swami. I give you one more example, which is very clear. One day, one boy came to me and asked me, "Uncle, I want a futsal shoes." He's a good footballer. So I told him, I can't afford to buy so expensive shoes. It was about 300. So I can do wash car and things like that. I save and can I buy? I said, I don't mind buying you. I've done so much help to the poor. I can do, but I need some time, to save and give you. I give you 100 ringgit a month. I save for you, and then 3rd month I will go and buy. So this boy came. Said, okay, uncle, I will do some work. I'll help you. We will buy. So what happened? 3rd month, I wanted to buy for him. I said, come, let's go and buy for you the shoes. So he came back. We went to Chowkit. I took 30 ringgit, 1 ringgit. Told him, there's a lot of beggars sitting outside. You go and give them 1 ringgit each, or you think according to the situation you give. So this boy went. He gave some money and came back to the car and said, "Uncle, I want to go back home." So I asked, why? I saved for you. You wanted, and you were so obedient for the last 3 months. And I'm very happy to share with you. No, uncle, I want to go back.
He didn't want the shoes.
He didn't want the shoes. He wants, actually I'm supposed to take him to
Buy the
Bangsa
food
shopping complex, buy the shoes. So on the way, he's telling me, Uncle, when I gave the money, many people don't even have leg. They don't have hand. So here I'm demanding for $300 shoes, where that people don't have. So I think it's not fair, Uncle, So the one act of service has opened up, And today he's a very active person, he's a Bal Vikas teacher. He does a lot of service activities. So dear brothers and sisters, I want to convey this message. By doing seva, it opens your heart.
Yes.
And that's where Swami enters in your heart also. So seva is so important.
Yes.
And I must tell you again, by doing seva, Swami didn't deprive me of anything. He gave more and more. The more I spend money, the more I get. I spend some money for here, he gives me the other side. It is so beautiful to do seva and get his grace, and he will never let you down. By doing seva, you actually see the community is growing. If you don't do seva, what happens? Okay, for example, your neighbor is suffering. I give you an example. Your neighbor is suffering. He has got no food to eat, but you are very healthy and wealthy. But you allow the fellow your neighbor, one day when you are not in the house, he will enter your house and take whatever that in your house. So if you help him, he will feel pity for you. He will safeguard your house also. And same time you're also helping. So when you help others, you're helping the other person. At the same time you're also helping yourself. So it's very, very important for us to help one another.
After knowing Swami all these years, to you, who is Swami?
For me, Swami is an avatar, He is my guru. He is everything for me, Because when I needed the help, he was there. My family needed help, he was there. So a person who helps you, you appreciate the most, So, but anyway, you should not be demanding. What is right for you, he will give it to you. Swami is like mother. So a mother gives, this is a real case, where a child and a neighbor's child, they were playing. The neighbor's child's mother came and gave chocolate to the mother. So this boy knows there's chocolate in the fridge. He go and ask his mother, I want chocolate. The mother says, no, I can't give you now. So the mother's intention, if she gives her chocolate, he will not take his lunch. So the mother feels that he must take the chocolate as well as the lunch. So at that point of time, the boy scolds the mother. See, my neighbor's child, the mother gives, chocolate. You got chocolate, you don't want to give it to me. But the mother's intention is the child must enjoy both. So that's how Swami is. Swami will give you when you deserve. So at the right time, Swami will give right thing.
What would be your advice for someone who wants to get closer to Swami?
Swami's name has power. By just chanting Swami's name, people have realized there are a lot of which I've heard in the radio sai and other my own personal experience. Just continuously chant Swami's name, and you will get his blessing. But of course, it has to be very sincere prayers. That is one. Second one, Swami has created a legacy for all of us. And everyone should visit Puttaparthi at least once in lifetime. Because Puttaparthi is the place Swami was born and he left. And there's a lot of legacy behind that. And Swami has created the super specialty hospital, the indoor stadium, all the institutes, then Hillview stadiums, and a lot of things, and all these are all itself is a miracle. The indoor stadium was built in 9 months. The super specialty, hospital was built in 11 months. So all this got a history. Prashanti Nilayam is our mother's land. It is a blessed land, and there were a lot of discourses were done in Puttaparthi, and these discourses and miracles were all performed in Puttaparthi. Swami brought dead to life in Puttaparthi, which only gods can do. Swami gave thousands of messages to mankind. So it's a beautiful place, and one must cherish his messages and will lead a beautiful life.